Your company will replace you within weeks if you died tomorrow. They'd post the job listing long before word of your death makes its first lap around the office. But you're over here skipping lunch breaks and working through your vacation like they're about to leak your sex tape or some shit if you don't. Stop being stupid. Welcome to Two-Punch Combo Motivation, where the talk is real, the nonsense is non-existent, and the discipline to succeed totally depends on you. Today we're talking about what you actually agreed to when you accepted that job you're now feeling funky about. And spoiler, selling every waking moment of your life was never part of that deal. You agreed to do specific work in exchange for specific pay and benefits. Sounds about right? Well, guess what? That's it. That's the deal you made when you got that start date. You didn't agree to sign over your health, ghost your relationships, or end up having to add this shit to your therapy sessions for a job you mildly like and coworkers you don't. Somewhere along the way, corporate culture quietly rewrote the terms of that basic pact between you and the devil you know called the job, or in my case, the salt mines. Being a good employee became skipping breaks, working through lunch, answering emails late at night, never using PTO, showing up sick, sacrificing little Timmy's debut as a starter for his school football team, and having just enough energy to wring yourself out and do it all again the next day. Oh, don't get the shit twisted. I'm talking from a position of experience. I went a whole grown-ass decade of giving back an average of 3 weeks of vacation time to my organization in the name of trying to be the model employee. And all I got was 3 scripts for hypertension meds, everyone thinking I'm the biggest asshole in the joint because I was always pissed about something, and finding myself doing the job of 3 people while getting paid the salary of 1. And did you think my loyalty was recognized? You know, I'm not even going to waste your time answering that. In 2019, the World Health Organization classified burnout as an occupational phenomenon, not a personality flaw, not a lack of discipline or grit, a fucking occupational condition. It shows up as energy depletion, increased mental distance from your job, and reduced professional effectiveness. That exhaustion you can't shake isn't weakness. It's your nervous system running in crisis mode too long. The cynicism that creeps in, that's your brain creating distance to protect itself. The brain fog and mistakes are the final stage. Diminished effectiveness. You're not broken. You're overextended. Of course, no one's going to admit that. Stanford research has shown that productivity per hour drops sharply once you move beyond roughly 50 hours a week. After about 55 hours, output collapses so much that the extra time adds almost nothing. 60-hour weeks don't make you more valuable. They just make you sicker for the same results you could have produced with rest and boundaries. Side note, you 80-hour plus motivation gurus, you're so inefficient that you need double the time the average person needs to pretend you're being an overachiever. So either you're not as good as you think, or you're lying. A joint analysis by the World Health Organization and the International Labor Organization found that working 55 hours or more per week is associated with a significantly higher risk of stroke and a higher risk of death from ischemic heart disease compared to standard 40-hour weeks. Your company's deadline isn't worth a stroke. That project isn't worth heart disease from eating like shit because you can't go home to a decent meal. No paycheck repairs a body you broke, chasing someone else's profit margin. Before you get all puffed up and defensive and shit, let me ask you this. Other than being competent at your job, just what do you have to prove? That you're willing to donate unpaid labor? That you'll tolerate self-harm to stay in good standing? Real talk, if you showed another woman or man that kind of dedication, social media would be calling you a simp. But because there's a check attached to you putting up with the bullshit, I guess that's supposed to be okay? Here's what the research actually shows. People who go above and beyond are often rewarded with more work, not better compensation or advancement. Expectations expand faster than rewards. That praise you just got from your manager? Oh, that shit's coming with more expectations, no extra cash, and a lot of self-regret. Maybe you tell yourself, everyone else is doing it. Yes. And everyone else is riding the same broken carousel. They're just as exhausted, underpaid, and quietly resentful as you are. They're not thriving. They're surviving. Why do you think the office is so damn toxic? Don't confuse shared misery for proof that the system is working. Maybe you grind yourself into the ground because you fear falling behind, missing opportunities. Yeah, missing your kids' important years, and then you wonder why they're calling you by your first name. You're a stranger to them. And while I might be joking, think of all the important shit you missed in the name of putting in just 1 more hour. You know what you'll actually miss if you keep this pace? Your kids' childhoods. Your health while you still have it. Relationships with people who actually give a shit about you. The ability to enjoy anything because you're too tired to feel. Time you don't take off doesn't roll forward. It disappears. And when people look back at the end, they don't regret skipped emails. They regret time not spent with people they loved or doing the shit they enjoy doing. You might say, but my job is important. People depend on me. The work may matter. But sorry to break it to you, you're not special. You're still replaceable. I used to believe I was indispensable too. Then I took time off and discovered the organization kept running like the machine it was intended to be. Look, this isn't a crusade for apathy. Care about your work while you're being paid to do it, then go home and care about your life. Liking your job doesn't obligate you to self-destruct for it. Passion without boundaries is just burnout with a few extra dollars in the 401k. So what do you actually do? Use your personal time off. It's not a gift, it's compensation you already earned. Not using it is accepting a pay cut, giving your money back to the gig. I mean, if you love your job so much that you're willing to pay them for the privilege, then you do you. Set clear limits on work hours. Turn off notifications after hours. If something's truly urgent, and if you're the person responsible for dealing with that urgency, then they'll escalate the situation. But silence usually means it can wait until you get back to the office. Take your breaks. You don't get paid for them most times anyway, so that's time for you to get your ass together for the rest of the shitty day you know is coming. Stop working when you're sick. Showing up ill doesn't prove dedication. If anything, it's going to piss off people like me trying to keep themselves healthy, and you come hacking and snotting all over your keyboard and the water cooler. Keep your ass at home, or at least ask to work remote if you can. Evaluate whether the environment itself is the problem. If boundaries are punished and burnout is celebrated, that's not resilience culture. It's attrition by design. You've got agency. Leaving may take planning and time, but staying in a place that's actively harming you costs more in the long run. Here's what you need to understand about the system you're in. The hustle narrative you've absorbed wasn't invented for your benefit. It exists because companies make money when workers overextend without additional pay. When a company says we're a family, remember this: families don't cut you for quarterly numbers. You're not family. You're a line item on a spreadsheet. Act accordingly. Analysis from MIT Sloan during the Great Resignation showed that toxic culture, not compensation, was the strongest predictor of turnover. Overwork, lack of balance, and feeling undervalued drove people out. Economic data tells the same story. Worker productivity has risen dramatically over decades while wages have lagged far behind. You're already producing more value for less relative pay. Giving away your time on top of that isn't commitment. It's charity with no warm, fuzzy feeling at the end of it. And the grind influencers cheering this on, they're not allies. They profit from your exhaustion while selling you narratives about discipline and sacrifice. And I fucking guarantee you there's a course or membership to be purchased. Shit, I was all hustle and grind trying to grab those bags for the longest time until I was worse off financially than when I started listening to the bullshit on social media. You still have choices right now. You can set boundaries. You can protect your health. You can live as if your life actually belongs to you. But those choices shrink when stress becomes chronic and damage accumulates. You can't negotiate with time. When it's gone, it's gone. The work will continue whether you sacrifice yourself or not. The company will adapt, projects will finish, but you only get one body, one life, one shot at this.